Okay, so let's talk about two words you've probably heard a million times if you've been around church at all: salvation and sanctification. But what do they actually mean? This isn't just some dusty old theology lesson, I promise. Getting the difference here could totally change how you see your faith, your growth, even your purpose. All right, let's jump in.
So let's just start with the first huge question. It sounds so simple, but have you ever really stopped to think about it? What does it truly mean to be saved?
You know, we hear a lot of different ideas, right? Is it a one-time thing, like you said a prayer, checked a box, and now you're good to go? Or is it some big emotional feeling you have to have, or else it's not real? Or maybe it's just a get-out-of-hell-free card, a ticket to heaven. But what if those common ideas don't even tell half the story?
And that leads us to this other word, sanctified. I know, it sounds a little old school, a bit formal maybe, but what does it have to do with us, like on a Tuesday afternoon? Well, here's the thing. You can't really get what saved means without understanding this word. It's the key.
To really get to the bottom of this, we're going to start with something a little provocative. The source material for this explainer basically argues that one of the most popular ways we think about spiritual growth today is actually built on a really shaky foundation.
Whoa. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The claim here is that if your entire spiritual life is just about you getting better, your own self-improvement, you're not just missing the point, you might actually be getting a warped picture of who God even is. That is a bold statement, and it's one we need to unpack. So, if a faith that's all about personal growth is a dead end, then what are we missing, right? If it's not all about me and my journey to become a better person, then what in the world is it about? And here's where it all starts to click. The answer, the clarity we're looking for, comes down to this really simple but profound distinction: what God does for you versus what God does in you. Okay, so let's break this down. Salvation, that's a done deal. It's what God has already done for you. It's a finished work that happened in the past. And because of it, you have a completely new identity. But sanctification, that's what God is doing in you right now, today. It's the ongoing moment-by-moment process of being changed. See the difference? Salvation is the solid foundation. Sanctification is the house being built on it. So this naturally brings up that age-old question, doesn't it? How much of this is God and how much of it is me? Where does his work stop and mine start? Well, for centuries, people have wrestled with this, and it's often looked at through two major theological lenses. On one side, you have the Calvinist perspective. It really zeroes in on God's sovereignty, the idea that God's choice, his initiative, is the main event. He's the one driving everything. Then on the other side, you have the Arminian perspective, which puts more emphasis on our human responsibility, that our free will response to God is absolutely critical. And listen, this isn't just some abstract debate. Where you lean on this really changes things, like how secure you feel in your salvation or how much pressure you feel to work at your faith. Now, I want to be super clear here. The goal of bringing this up is not to pick a side or declare a winner. It's about using both of these historic viewpoints to help us think more deeply, more biblically about this amazing dance between God's sovereign power and our participation in his work. So why does any of this matter in our actual, real lives? Because getting this foundation right isn't just some academic exercise. It has massive practical consequences for how we live. Seriously, it changes everything. It takes your faith from being this private, personal project and makes it something much, much bigger. So how does it change things? Well, first, it totally redefines spiritual formation. It's not a stressful, never-ending self-help project anymore. Instead, it becomes this dynamic partnership with God, where you're cooperating with the work he's already doing in you. Second, it reshapes how you seek community. We're not just a bunch of isolated individuals on our own spiritual journeys. We're a body being built together, and we actually need each other to grow. And third, it completely reorients your mission. The goal expands way beyond just your personal holiness to serving a greater purpose in the world, reflecting God's character to everyone around you. And all of that leaves us with one final, challenging question to just sit with for a minute. If salvation is the finished, perfect foundation that God has already laid for you, what exactly are you building on top of it with your life right now?